No, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Amen. My dear Korean faithful, today's reading of the epistle starts with Tradili Wadet Akshepi. I have handed over to you what I have received. I cannot hand over to you, my dear faithful, anything else than Catholic tradition. And it is very sad to say that my dear Superior General, Bishop Bernard Fellet, he is continuing to plan. Nothing is signed yet, so I hope I'm still under him, even though he doesn't want me to be under him. I hope nothing is going to be signed, but Bishop Fellet continues to want to put us under the new role. That is, instead of handing over to us Catholic tradition, he's handing over traditional Catholics to what is not traditional Catholic. And this, my dear faithful, I will not allow it. I will not countenance it. As a shepherd of souls, I cannot hand you over, and I cannot collaborate to the handing over of traditional Catholics to the modernist new role. I cannot, and I will not. On account of that, the first monition has been issued to me on account of my previous war on sermon. First monition, trying to expel me from the Society of Saint Pius X. And so, just like I will not have you handed over to the official church, I am not going to hand over my title of Society of Saint Pius X. That's why I'm going to explain to you today. I am not handing over what I am. I am a priest of the Society of Saint Pius X more than 16 years ago. I spent 24 years of my life in the service of the Society of Saint Pius X. This is not going to stop. It is not I who have changed the position of Archbishop Lefebvre. It is the new management of the Society of Saint Pius X. Those whom I call the Reconcilier Society of Saint Pius X, that are changing the management of the Society of Saint Pius X into a return to the official church. Now we do have the evidence. You know, at some stage I was thinking that Bishop Fellet was, flip-flopping, but now it's just flopping. Just a flop. That is, everything is in the direction to place ourselves under the official church. And this is also is confirming his doctrinal errors. That we should ignore the errors of the Council of Vatican II, because the church is more than the council. So he wants to join the official church in order to help the church, and says that there are more far-reaching problems to the Catholic Church than the Council of Vatican II. When it's precisely the contrary that Archbishop Lefebvre has always said. That what is destroying the church and undermining the church is Vatican II and its consequences. So we are against this, quote, new awareness. And so doctrine is not a secondary problem. Doctrine is our first problem. What Bishop Fellet wants to do is to reconcile and put all the doctrinal problems and the other problems fit into this box of reconciliation, which is not the vision of Archbishop Lefebvre. For Archbishop Lefebvre, you had Almighty God, our Lord Jesus Christ, and then the Catholic faith. For Bishop Fellet, of course there is God, but then just below God, there is reconciliation. And everything else has to fit in this box of a reconciliation. And and then he says the context is changing. The context, the situation is good enough. So I sent many letters, many talks to many people of that position. And he said the context is changing, it's favorable. Now we can have a canonical recognition, we can dialogue with Rome. And they say that to stay out of the official church is an illusion, is to have an ideal notion of the church which does not exist. What they don't understand that I can work with the rest of the church, but on condition that the Pope thinks straight. What is going to rebuild the church, my dear faithful, is not a Pope who is in modernism. You have to distinguish the church and the papacy. That of course, if the Pope converts, he will have lots of work to do to restore the church. But we will join the Pope only when his head will think straight. And that will help the church. The healing of the church already begins by what we are doing, by the stance we are making. And we have been very successful in this stance. And what Bishop Fele is doing right now is to split the society, to explode the Society of Saint Pius X. Is that serving the return of tradition? The return of the mass of the church to tradition? To show the world, a terrible division within the ranks of the Society of Saint Pius X? Is that showing the way to the world? It's doing the exact opposite, because I am very clear, I am not going this way. We are being asked to come by Rome. The Bishop Fele thinks we have sufficient freedom to act, to live. And Bishop Fele believes that this must be done on condition that we have a sufficient protection. No, this cannot be done. It's a question of trust of the Roman authorities, he says. That he thinks that, it's not a trap. It is not a trap, he says clearly. The three bishops says it's a trap. Bishop Fele says it is not a trap. It is indeed a trap. And he says, why is it not a trap, says Bishop Fele? Because the Pope says that it is not a trap. The Pope who used to be Cardinal Ratzinger, the Pope who is strangling the Institute of Good Shepherd and the Redemptorist. I just met one of the brothers 2 days ago in Manila. The Pope who is strangling the others tell us it's not a trap. Go and jump in. I am sincere. It is not a trap. How can we believe that it is not a trap just merely by the Holy Father, Benedict XVI, saying so? How is that possible? It can be so gullible. The Pope is the one who wants it. Of course he wants it. He said the same thing to the Society of Saint Peter, to the Mater Ecclesiae Institute, to Campos, to the Redemptorists, to Don Gérard, Benedictine monks, and to all the others. He said it as he always said the same. And so the Pope wants it. The Bishop Fele again in the letter repeats it's a genuine opportunity for the society. He says the three bishops don't understand. They don't understand that it's a genuine opportunity. So Bishop Fele confirms the substance of his letter, of the Titanic letter of April 14th. He confirms the stance of this letter. He is not retracting in any way the stance of the April 14th letter. And he tells those bishops that someday they will have to readjust their judgment. So he officially recognizes that the three bishops are not on his side. And that's a question for me as a priest, because as a priest I cannot operate without a bishop. So I rather operate with three bishops who have their heads straight, and with one bishop whose thinking is wallowing, and mellowing and melting, because of the circumstances, because of a vague feeling of some sort of a reconciliational spell. I cannot follow a reconciliational spell. What I follow is bishop who follow doctrine. That is what I follow, because it is right, it is solid. On this, my work will not be compromised. And Bishop Fele tells the world that he still has three bishops against him within the SSPX, and he believes that the society is the majority of the society is going to follow him. It is not the case. France is not following Monsignor. And there are already several priests like me making a public stand against Bishop Fele and being expelled. It's already there. Father Rioux, Father Pinault, and Father Giroir sermon now is on the internet. the Joe Pfeiffer sermons on the internet. He already has the beginning of those priests who are going public against Menzinger. And he has enormous groups of priests. Of course, in the US it's all under the NKVD, but Canada and Mexico and the seminary in Ecuador and plenty of other places are already saying no to him. And he hasn't got 3 bishops. And he maintains that he has 3 bishops and he's going to carry on regardless. That's blindness, my dear faithful. That's a breach of all the rules of warfare. And then he maintains the stand of the CNS. The question, he maintains that Vatican II can be put into tradition if it's understood in the light of tradition. Archbishop Lefebvre clarified the notion of Vatican II in the light of tradition. It's a dangerous expression, so he chose never to use it again. You cannot distinguish within Vatican II. We had so many congresses telling us that we cannot distinguish water and vinegar. When they are poured together, you can't distinguish them anymore. We had so many congresses and meetings stating just that. And therefore, you have this belief that the personal prelature is going to be nice, it's going to work. But it's not going to work at the same time, because when we will open a chapel, we will have to have the permission of the local bishop. He admits it, because it's church law. Which law? The new code or the old code? What code are they going to follow also? But Rome is working on it, and then of course there's going to be difficulties. But where did you find life without difficulties? So it's going to be difficult. Not only hasn't got the 3 bishops, many priests now are vocal, many priests say openly no, and respectfully no. And he says there are difficulties, but we have to do it. And we have great hope that tradition, and people will stop to call us schismatic, so this is going to help very much. And, and so we have to collaborate with the official church. So, my dear faithful, tradidi podet accepi. I am not taking you this way. I am not. And so, the punishments are raining upon me, but in a way I'm very glad it makes things very clear to me. And since they are proceeding to expel me, I need to tell you what is next. So the next installment after war on is what next? What is going to happen now, my dear faithful? You need to be, it's the virtue of prudence, is to see ahead of things what is going to happen now. But before I start, let me show you my war aims. The war aim is not a society split. Still, my dear faithful, as much as I can, I try to place myself under Bishop Bernard Fellet. He doesn't want me to be under him, but I still recognize him as a superior, all right? Because I don't want the split to happen before the general chapter. But I know what I want for the general chapter, and these are conditions for me to recognize the leadership of Bishop Fellet, or whoever the general chapter puts in his stead, maybe. So the general chapter has to do 2 things. He has to force Bishop Fellet now, at this stage. The general chapter has to force Bishop Fellet to retract his past erroneous statements, including new erroneous statements appearing in the latest interview. These statements have to be put on paper, and he has to retract them. That's the first thing. If he doesn't wish to do so, then the general chapter must oblige Bishop Fellet to stand down from his post of general superior. And the second thing, that now there must be a rule of bylaw, and preferably in a constitution as an amendment of the constitution of the Society of Saint Pius X, there must be a rule bylaw stipulating that any practical agreement with the Pope can take place only on 2 conditions. That first, the Pope anathematizes, that is, condemns with his power. He condemns the entire text of Vatican II as a whole. The Vatican II as a text, as a whole, in the text, the whole of Vatican II, without doing all this, distinction, light of tradition, interpretation. No, the Pope has to condemn the whole text itself of Vatican II. That's the first condition. And he must return to the exclusive use of the traditional Mass. That is, he must return to say only the traditional Mass. And you understand that the condition is not that the Pope and the rest of the world says only the traditional Mass. No. The Novus Ordo Catholics, that will take time. That's what we say, the healing of the Church, I agree, the healing of the Church takes time. But the healing of the Church happens at the hand of such a Pope. Do you understand? There is no, the theory of the gradual conversion of Benedict XVI to tradition is dangerous. Why it's dangerous? Because he's a wolf. He's been using the trappings of tradition to deceive us all these years, and he's going to continue to do the same. It's dangerous. And even Bishop Philip says it's going to be hard, and everything. It's dangerous. No, the Church is going to be healed by a Pope who returns fully to the faith. But then they tell me, how is it going to happen? You are dreaming, you have a dream miracle scenario. But I say that those who believe that the hand of God is shorter than it used to be are even bigger dreamers. Because they refuse to believe in the all-powerfulness of God. God is all-powerful. So look at the story of Joan of Arc. And all the Battle of Lepanto, and it's all in our history books. Our history books of the history of the Church are full of the salvaging of the Church from a desperate situation. And you don't want me to believe, when Our Lady of Quito clearly said that she would come to our aid when everything seems to be lost, you don't want me to believe that when everything seems to be lost, Our Lady of Quito, Our Lady is going to intervene. That's not possible. That's not possible because it fits also my version of non-progressive conversion of the Pope, fits also Saint Malachi. Who tells us we will have a Pope who will lead the Church through many tribulations. The tribulations of reconquering the Novus Ordo Church. There will be a Pope who will go around the world and will turn around the Novus Ordo Church from Novus Ordo back to tradition. He will be the instrument of the healing of the Church. That's what seems to be said, to be implied in the words of Saint Malachi. And probably other signs, other revelations. But that's the way it's done. Because those are the three whitenesses. So right now we have, today is the solemnity of the Holy Eucharist, we've got the whiteness of the Holy Eucharist. Then we've got the second whiteness, our Blessed Virgin Mary. To whom is consecrated this time for her triumph, for the triumph of her whiteness. But don't you think that she's going to use the papacy for this triumph? When she clearly stated that the Pope will consecrate Russia, unlike the reigning Pope, who buried Fatima. Instead of burying Fatima, the Pope will consecrate Russia to her heart. So she already told us she's going to use a Pope. A good one, not a grey one. She's going to use a Pope. That's why our hope is so much higher than the lame hope of the new management of the Society of Saint Pius. It is such a lame hope because it rests on an implicit disbelief in the power that God has to change history. And the second prelude, that is what I do not want to happen to the general chapter. Otherwise I continue to fight. What I don't want to hear is some vague assurance of fidelity to the position of the society. Or to the position of Archbishop Lefebvre as they understand it. And that most of the general chapter spends itself in administrative details when they have the crisis of doctrine at hand. And a split taking place. Which is not of my making, because I am not stepping down from society. They are just trying to cut the tie between me and the Society of Saint Pius, which is impossible, because I am not changing. When they use the scissors on me, they are cutting themselves off, but I am not changing. And the second thing that I refuse to admit is the fact that they don't want to clarify the debate as to what is meant by the return of Rome to tradition. They don't want to clarify the debate. So we need to use the virtue of prudence now in these present circumstances. Because as you clearly see, they want to throw me out. Now, many of my friends tell me, but Father, take your time and everything. It's not, we are not yet there and everything. Well, I am there now. I am there. They are after me, and they are, stealing, boxes in my bedroom, stealing boxes in my priory. They are trying to pay the two cameramen, away from my preaching. They are trying to debook my plane tickets without my knowledge, and they are withdrawing my faculties to preach without any written documents. So they are, I am already there. That's what I say to my friends. I'm doing very well. I slept very well last night in the plane, surprisingly. So I'm doing very well, and then I am there already. For the other priests who are not there, just stay there, lay low. But I am there, that's where I am. And I am only 1 month away from the positive or negative outcome of the general chapter. So I'm obliged to use the virtue of prudence. I'm obliged to look at what I am going to do next. So Our Lady is going to help us because the situation is desperate. I told you already. But, this war on sermon has been attacked. So far the only error I can say is that I said that the next solution is to, I said that Metzingen wanted to cancel or postpone the general chapter. It's not the case. That's an erroneous statement I made in the war on sermon. So I retract it. Metzingen is proceeding as scheduled. But otherwise, I do not regret anything. I got no regret of this war on sermon. There may be some, lack of, maybe lack of respect in some expression I chose because of my personality, because I'm French in your face. So if I hurt anyone by some expressions, but as to the substance of the 33 arguments I put in the war on sermon, as to the substance, I cannot retract anything, my dear faithful. The situation is still the same. And I was relieved in a way, even though I don't agree with Bishop Philip, I was relieved in a way because since he maintains his stance, that my first stance of the war on sermon still stands. Bishop Philip, the new Rome is fornicating in heresy, and Bishop Philip wants us to go under the new Rome, which is adultery from the truth as far as we are concerned. Those are biblical expressions, but they need to be used. Those are not a liberal way to express oneself. It's a way of Scripture to express itself. But it's the truth. So now I need to warn you against 3 animals. The chameleon. So, sometimes we hear, I'm not signing, I'm just looking. And then now, today, I'm saying, I'm going to sign real quick. I'm really just about to sign. July maybe, or after, Providence will tell me, but whenever it's ready, my pen is hitting the paper. So I'm not saying I'm just looking, and then in between of 2 episodes, the May episode, the April-May episode, where I'm going to take the offer, it's very interesting. And now we are back to I am going to take the offer, and it's very interesting. So basically some sort of chameleon, even though now I don't think Bishop Philip is chameleonizing very much. He's very consistent, and I don't call him a chameleon. But the switch could happen, but I don't see it happening, it's happening less and less. His resolve now is very strong. And the other animal is the spider, trying to put you to sleep, telling you, be quiet, pray, say novenas to the Sacred Heart, to the Holy Ghost, add a collect to Saint Pius X, be nice, be quiet and everything. In the discernment of spirit, the devil does this when something bad is happening. He calms down things. I told you about the mood of the Krishna temples, the Disneyland mood elsewhere. That the devil is able to soothe things. It's not because I am soothed. It's not because I feel relaxed that I am in the truth. It's because I am in the truth that eventually my heart is soothed and peaceful, and I get good night's sleep, including in a plane, my dear faithful. Something that usually doesn't happen to me. And I'm fresh this morning. So if first you follow the truth, then your heart is soothed and pacified. That's it's the devil is the other way around. He wants agreement, he wants peace first, and after that, everything falls apart. So, but the spider stings first and then wraps. So we're being wrapped as we are being stung and put to sleep. The Bishop Philip maintains that he goes to Rome, talks to Rome, and then he prepares this canonical structure and all these things by which we're going to be tied, completely tied, won't be able to move. That's what the spider does. And then the spider assumes the regime afterwards. And then there is a crocodile. The crocodile does two things. I went to see the crocodile park in Davao last week. And there was a giant, huge crocodile there. And then the pressure of his jaw is 2 tons. So you fall in the hands of this crocodile, you got 2 tons of pressure squashing you. And that's what's happening to me right now. Okay? They are squashing me on one side, and they want to have pity on Pope Benedict XVI. Let us help Pope Benedict XVI. We're so isolated. Poor thing, Benedict XVI. Well, of course, he's crushing the Redemptorists. That's not good. Don't do it again. Don't crush the Institute of Good Shepherd. Don't crush the others. Of course, he's got this 2-ton jaw. But look at his eyes. He's got tears in his eyes. He's alone in his desk. He's got all these scandals. The medias are attacking him, and we are his most loyal sons, able to come to him, to work with him, to work and help him become a better crocodile. No way, my dear faithful. So you stay away from the chameleon, you stay away from the spider, and you stay away from the crocodile. So what's happening to us priests, who are trying to dodge the crocodile a little bit? What's happening to me right now? Well, first of all, I want to present to you the nightmare scenarios, what I don't want to do. First of all, we must not have discouragement. It's just a crisis within SSPX. And I maintain that by the end of the general chapter, the crisis will be over. Because our Lady is too powerful. Any mother would intervene at this stage because the family is tearing itself to pieces. Any mother in any other family, the mother would put herself on her knees and she was forcefully, by her motherhood, force the union of the family. That's what happens when there is a family crisis. So I'm not discouraged at all. And me and my other confreres who are in the same position as I am, those who are the vocal ones, we are not discouraged at all. Our hope is growing and growing and growing. Because the tide now is turning. We can see now, after a couple of weeks, that now the tide is turning, resistance is organizing. But I don't want discouragement. I want to stay away from discouragement, and stay away from slicing. That is, it is not I who is being removed as a lone priest. It's not true. We are a block of priests. We are not going down separately. We priests are hanging already together as of now.